James Poovey here from the Epic Sports Network. We're going to have the call, myself and Coach Kelly Epley, this coming Saturday night for the inaugural GameTime All-Star Showcase game. Coach, it's going to be an exciting time, and we're very excited to visit with one of the coaches here tonight and pick his brain a little bit on what he's going to have these guys doing on Saturday night. So let's go ahead and bring him in here. It's Coach James Grinde joining us from the state of Colorado. Coach Grinde, how are you tonight, sir? We appreciate your time, and we're very excited to see what you're going to do. You're going to coach the black team this coming Saturday night for the GameTime All-Star Showcase. For those of you in the audience tonight that don't know you or haven't heard of you, just give us a little bit of background on your coaching history and what has brought you here to the GameTime All-Star game.
So I spent the last, I would say, 12, 13 years coaching. I've been at the college level, Division I, Division II, NAIA D3, and JUCO. I've also spent some time coaching high school, and just building relationships in the recruiting world has brought me to this game. Rodney and I have had a personal relationship for about the last 4 or 5 years or so, and just being around the game my whole life, this is really a great opportunity for us. Just to show the relationship that we do have. This game is pretty important for everyone, and I think from an inaugural standpoint, we're excited just about the process and just being able to get it started and for future games as well.
Okay, Coach, my question is, what got you interested in doing the game out here in Arizona?
So, from a recruiting perspective, it's a hotbed. And I knew that there was going to be a lot of talent, just from a perspective of who Rodney has worked with, and then as well as the state and the guys that are playing in the game, as well as nationally. There's a few national guys. And then we had the chance to be able to vote in or draft in Tanner Gurk, who's one of my players here at Caliche. And, I think it's a great opportunity with all the connections and the Rolodex that Rodney has for these kids, just to be able to network with these college coaches, but also for myself, just to be able to be present and give back to these kids. I really want an opportunity to just coach some different players and also just be involved.
Coach, we think it's great that you're a part of this GameTime All-Star game, and you mentioned the roster. The talent is abundant on both of these rosters for the black and the white team. My question to you is, you guys are going to have a practice on Friday night. How do you present a game plan, if you will, in such a short a time, and try to keep that simplistic enough for everybody to understand what you're really going to try to accomplish out there on Saturday night?
Well, obviously we started out, we hit the ground running. We put together a bunch of different presentations. The offensive coordinator, myself, and Rodney have put together presentations for the defense, as well as the offense. And just, we had those same kind of questions ourselves. How do you, in one day, scheme for the other team? But if you know football, I really do pride myself on understanding the game. And I think from a basic standpoint, our deliverables are going to be good. We want to put playmakers in space. It's more of a checkers chess match here per se than it will be more of, well, we know what they did the last 3 games. But we've identified, our weaknesses early on, just knowing who fits where and what we can do and what we can't do. But we've provided our team with cut-ups, with huddle presentations. We've provided our coaching staff with all the materials that they need. And then the offensive coordinator and I have met just on different, what's our philosophy, what's going to be our base. And, keeping it simple, the KISS principle, as we like to call it in the football world, is keep it simple, stupid. And, if we can keep it as simple and the kids can play fast, and I think on both sides of the ball, we're going to be able to put together a pretty quality game.
Can I ask you what your assistant coaches? Where'd you get them from? How do you know them?
So when we first started the process, we decided that we were looking at a few other out-of-state coaches, but we had decided that we were going to put things in place, with the coaches that were in the area. So Rodney did a lot of, logistical work as far as, who fits where, who's going to be good with what. And then, down the road, we had a few hiccups, and then, we kind of solidified our staff. A lot of the guys on the white and black staff are really, really good coaches in the state of Arizona. I feel like we're going to be competitive. Our offensive line coach, Andy Montano, he's worked with offensive line performance. He's done a really good job. Our quarterbacks coach is a 4-year starter in sprint football out in Pennsylvania. And then he moved his family out to Arizona, and he's the defensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach. His name is Mike Marino. And then obviously Britt Sanchez he's our offensive coordinator. He's been a varsity analyst and wide receivers coach for a long time. And, he also works with the Air Force. And, those guys were all guys that Rodney had personal relationships with. Even Coach Ravenall, our linebackers coach, he played at the college level, and then he's been coaching for the last 10 years. So those, a lot of our guys know Rodney through the recruiting world, but also through just personal relationship.
Okay, Coach, thank you. Sounds good.
What would be the message, Coach, to the team? Obviously, these are going to be all seniors on Saturday that you're going to have a chance to coach up. What would be the message to them going out one last time to try to show what they're made of as it pertains to a football player and maybe try to get noticed? What would you tell them? Hey, this is kind of not your last shot, but one of your last shots. You really want to go out there and make it your best. Give it your best.
Well, the one thing we talked about as a staff early on in this process was, how can we motivate our kids to play hard? And, the one thing you don't want to do in an all-star game is play slow, because you're going to end up getting hurt. And from a committable standpoint, if you're already committed to a school, that's going to even more solidify it for you. So, the one message that I think that I'll have for our black squad is, I want you guys to play hard, but have fun. Have energy, execute, and just be yourself. The one thing in job interviews that I've done myself and interviewed other people myself in the college world is, when you're nervous, you talk a lot. Okay? So the one thing that I want these kids to do is, when they're nervous, they're not going to play fast. They're not going to be themselves. And so we want them to have juice. We want them to have energy. We want them to have pride in what they're doing. But the one thing that we've been talking about is being all in. And this is for them. Our staff is all in. Our players are all in. Just being all in, and then we're going to go. We're going to go.
Well, Coach, we thank you so much for your time. It's Coach James Grinde joining us here on the Epic Sports Network. He's going to coach the Black Squad coming up on Saturday night. The game's going to be broadcast live right here on the Epic Sports Network. A 6 p.m. kickoff. Myself and Coach Kelly Epley will be on the air with the pregame show at 5:45 p.m., and we are looking to see some of the best in Arizona high school football compete one last time on the gridiron here in the great state 48. So thanks again to Coach Grinde for joining us tonight, and we look forward to meeting you in the upcoming week, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate everything you're doing.
Absolutely.